Welcome along to the Gobby Gaffer, and today I'm going to spread some words of wisdom. Yeah, we're going to do a tutorial video on Football Manager 2024. Yep, I know, a lot of them have been done and dusted, but I think this one will be a little bit different. And as we know, FM25 has been cancelled completely. So we're basically playing Football Manager 2024 for 2 years. And that's even if FM26 or whatever they're going to call it comes out in the November of 2025. So why do a tutorial video now, I hear you asking? Well, to be quite honest, I think there may be some new players coming into the game. The game is available on PlayStation Plus, Xbox Game Pass. You can also pick a used copy up as well. And if you go along to CEX, you can, actually they're not daft, the price has gone up a little bit. I think last time I looked it was about 25, 26 quid. It's 30 quid now. But to be fair, it's about half price. Can't find any Xbox versions of the game, but I'm sure if you do a Google search, you can probably find Xbox ones as well. And this game is an immense game. And when you look at the gaming industry and some of the top games these days, and you might get 30, 40 hours of gameplay, this game, it's endless. Because once you've finished managing one team and then got them to, well, you've hit the targets for that team, you can start with another one. And you can manage all over the world. Europe, Japan, South America, England. I mean, you can start off with a team in the National League. Well, National League North or South. And work your way through the leagues. Try and get them into the Premier League. There's lots of things to do. If you're interested in football at all and you fancy having a go at managing a team, well, Football Manager 2024 is the best version of the game that there's ever been. Because the new game, whenever it comes out, is going to be on a brand new engine and nobody really knows what it's going to be like. Is it going to be buggy? Who knows? It's going to be a brand new game. And traditionally, brand new games do have one or two little glitches in there, don't they? But Football Manager 2024, it's a complete version. Okay, I have done some tutorials on my channel. Basically, those were about, starting the game from the first time you load the game up. What do you do? How do you set your management profile up? How do you get going in the game? And all of those kind of things. This set of tutorials are going to be about actual player positionings and instructions. So for instance, today we're going to talk about the Mezzala. And, even if you're a football fan, but you come into the game for the first time, you may or may not know what a Mezzala is. Well, a Mezzala plays in the central midfield, but they kind of play a bit wider. Not as wide as a winger, but they're kind of called a half winger, if you will. So they play in that space between the wing and central midfield. And I'll just show you what I mean now. So in this example here, we're going to use Manchester City, and it's a fairly standard setup there. We don't need to get too bogged down in the positionings. You might say, oh, Mateus Nunes is not a DLP. Well, it doesn't really matter. What we're doing is we're focusing on Bernardo Silva. And I've set Bernardo Silva as a Mezzala. And just as an example, what the Mezzala will do, the Mezzala will work up and down here. And he's in a supporting role. Obviously, if he's a Mezzala on this side, then he's going to work up and down here. So the supporting role will come in here. If we change him to a Mezzala on attack, then he'll be a lot more vigorous. He'll get forward a lot more, and he'll try and occupy all of these spaces around here. So the attack version, you've got to be careful with your wingers. Obviously, we've got Doku there as an out-and-out winger, so he shouldn't interfere. If we had Doku as an inside forward on support, Doku would also be coming into this space as well. So you've got to be a little bit careful with that. If you've got an inside forward, your Mezzala, they could get in each other's way. Now, sometimes the match engine can be very clever. Sometimes it can be a bit of a buffoon. But sometimes it can be very clever. And over the years, I've been playing Football Manager a long time. So I've had, let's say, a player A, and he's an advanced forward, and you know, he plays in a certain way. I've had another player, let's call him player B or even player C, as an advance forward, and they will do different things. So sometimes I've had that advance forward coming deep and picking the ball up and then spraying it around. So the match engine can be very clever sometimes. So everything I'm telling you is basically just a default, if you will. But you have to try it yourself, put these things into a game, watch the match engine and see whether those two players are clashing. You know, it could well be that Doku, even as an inside forward or as an inverted winger, will stay wider and will give Bernardo Silva room to run in. Okay, let's have some look at some of the individual stats for a Mezzala. Okay, these are Bernardo Silva's default stats. And you can see, obviously, he's a world-class player, so he's got some very, very good stats. And the amber colour there, all of these scores are out of 20, by the way. So you can see for work rate, he's a 20 out of 20. And the highlight stats, the more highlight stats that they've got, the better player that they are. But for a Mezzala on support, and I've set that in here, so if you click this button here, you can actually set the role and it will give you the ideal stats for that role. So I've set as a Mezzala on support, and if you look along here, these highlighted stats, so where we've got this little green bar here, it's difficult to show you this because every time you hover, it brings up a big pop-up box telling you what it's all about. I find that quite annoying in Football Manager. But anyway, so as you can see there's a green bar next to acceleration is a 15. Ideally, we could really do with that being a 17 or 18, 19. But it has other stats to make up for that. Work rate, for instance, 20 out of 20. Off the ball, 17. Decisions, 15. Again, a little bit low. Technique 18. The blue line here, which is highlighted, those are stats that are not absolutely essential, but if they've got them, it's a bonus. As we can see there, tackling, Bernardo has only got an 8 for. You know, if he had a 15, 16 in there, then that would really aid this role. But it's not essential, and Bernardo Silva can play this role very, very well. And, you know, most of the stats that he needs to play this role, as you can see there, all of the green ones, or most of them, he's absolutely top-notch in. If we go back to here again, and then go into midfield roles, and go to Mezzala, and we do attack, then it changes slightly. So the preferred attributes for the attacking version of a Mezzala are slightly different. And acceleration is still there, but this time it's brought up dribbling. And Bernardo's got a 17 for dribbling. So as an attacking Mezzala, he probably actually looks a bit better. Because this time the tackling has been taken out, if you see. So technique, passing, dribbling, decisions, off the ball, vision, work rate and acceleration are all required for a attacking Mezzala. And then obviously he's got like stamina, for instance, is a blue stat, and that's kind of not essential, but if he's got it, then it's a bonus. And he's got a 17 for that. So Bernardo Silva, a very, very, very good, well, he's actually a better attacking Mezzala than he is a support Mezzala. And a little bit more information. So R3, if you hover over R3, and then you can actually edit player instructions. So in here, and this is what I'm saying about Football Manager. It can be quite a complicated game. There's lots of things to learn. So in here, this is telling you, as a Mezzala on attack, this is telling you what this player actually will do in that role. So there's lots of things in there that you can click. You can ask him to mark tighter if you want, tackle harder, ease off tackles. So for instance, we will go into this in future videos, but if you've got a defensive midfield player or ball-winning midfield player and he's got a 20 for aggression, you would tell him to ease off tackles, because otherwise you'll never see him on the pitch. He'll just continually get yellow and red cards. But just as a default here, the default things are get further forward, We've got stay wider, so he will stay a little bit wider, not out on the wing, but he will stay a bit wider. This is default, so you can't click this. This is set in, so when it's got a green line around it, roam from position and move into channels. That's already set. The other things that he can do, you can have him cross more or less often. Passing, you can actually do more direct passing, depending whether he's good at dribbling, which we know Bernardo Silva is. You can ask him to dribble more, dribble less, shoot more often, shoot less often, and where to aim the crosses at. But I can't really tell you what to do there, because you more than likely won't be playing with Bernardo Silva. It'll be another central midfield player on the Mezzala role, and he will have different attributes to Bernardo Silva. So, click those buttons, play a game or two, and see how it's working. And obviously, if we want to go out and find a Mezzala, then we go to the recruitment. That's left trigger, bring up recruitment, go to player search. And obviously, you have to have a chief scout in there to bring these things in for you. But we're going to look down here now. And we're looking here, central midfielder, advanced playmaker, ball-winning midfield player. So we're going to scroll down until we find a Mezzala. Here's a Mezzala here. Right, 25-year-old Renato Sanchez. He's playing at Roma at the moment. He's got a value of 6.8 million, which, to be fair, is not bad, is it, to be honest? And so he's a Mezzala. We don't need to change this at all. And it looks like his preferred role is a Mezzala on support. So we're looking like down there. I mean, he's only got an 11 for tackling. But you can see where I'm going with this. If you want a Mezzala in your team, that kind of player who will get forward and either support as a Mezzala or attack as a Mezzala, then go and search one out, look for the stats. He's only got an acceleration of 14, and that is a required stat. It's green. So he's okay. At 6.8 million, I would definitely give that lad a go, because I think he's all right. But again, decisions of 11, off the ball 13. He's got very good work rate. Obviously, he's nowhere near as good as Bernardo Silva. But, don't go for the first one. Go back in again and have a look and see if there's any more. And there's another Mezzala there, Luca de la Torre. Let's see what he's like. So, yellow stats he's a little bit devoid of, or amber stats. So those are the stats that are obviously elevated and make them a better player. But you can see where I'm going. Have a look, and if you want a Mezzala in your team, that's where to go. That's where to find them. And those are the stats to look for. Okay, but the all-important thing is, how does that fit into a game? Well, let's have a couple of versions here of the Mezzala. One on support, one on attack, and let's have a look at what they do in-game. So just have an example now of this Mezzala on a supporting role. Bernardo there. He's playing in between the wing and centre midfield, but he's a little bit reserved. He's on that supporting role. So he's just trotting through there, keeping his position. Ball played from Doku back to Walker. And Rodri there plays the ball now back to Nunes. Gets a little bit of a lucky bounce, but look where Bernardo is. Just plays perfectly. And if we have a look at that one from behind the goal, Rodri is going to play that ball to Nunes. We do get a little bit of a lucky bounce, but Bernardo just in the right spot. So this time Bernardo Silva is going to be a Mezzala, but this time attacking. So a little bit of a longer clip this time, just to show you the movement. So Bernardo is in the kind of bottom right-hand corner now, and you can see he's getting much further forward now. And as you see this progress, we've given the ball away, but he's a lot more mobile now. The ball gets given away, and Diaz picks the ball up at the back. Bernardo now, and as soon as he releases that ball, he's on his bike. This time he's not supporting, he's attacking, so he's on his bike. Diaz once again now plays the ball, and he's making so many runs there. He's darting around Doku now, plays the ball into Bernardo. Bernardo now plays the ball back to Walker, and Rodri out to Gvardiol, and look where Bernardo is now. He's more or less stood next to Haaland in the penalty area. But that's the Mezzala in the attacking role. And just a quick look from behind the goal. Rodri there plays the ball out to Vardiol, and just off screen, Bernardo was making his way into the penalty area. Three of them there: Doku, Bernardo and Haaland. So I hope that's explained a little bit more about the Mezzala. I was quite confused when I came into Football Manager. I had no idea what a Mezzala was. And obviously when you have a hunt round on YouTube, you do find people who will give you help and information. And I hope that I am one of those people. I've had a lot of people commenting how, my tutorials have helped them with the game. Because believe me, Football Manager is a very complex game, and it's not like any other computer games. There's a lot of stuff to learn. You can't just pick the game up, select a tactic, whack a few players in and play the game, because believe me, you will get beat time and time and time again. You'll probably end up fishing the game out of the bin about 3 times, and I'll admit I did exactly that. When I first got the game, I fished the game out of the bin 3 times because I thought, I can't play this. But the more you get into it, the more tutorials you watch, and hopefully this tutorial will have been helpful. The better you will get at the game. So this is going to be the first tutorial video on positional player positions, and there will be more videos coming explaining, the deep line playmaker, inverted wing backs, inverted full backs, all of that kind of thing. Wide centre backs. FM24 came in with quite a few new positions, and it was a little bit confusing, but once they're explained to you and you actually see it in a match environment, it becomes a lot clearer. So I hope you've enjoyed this video today. If you have, please give me a subscribe. Please give me a like. Please comment down below, because it all helps the channel to grow. And we are growing, albeit very, very slowly. But anyway, until next time, go be gaffer, tutorials, words of wisdom. We'll see you next time.